I can't stay silent any longer. Those chilling words rang through a packed courtroom as Janet Jackson stepped forward, trembling yet resolute, confronting the legacy her family had hidden for decades. No one saw this coming, not from Janet, the quiet, fiercely private sister of the late Michael Jackson. In an instant, the glamorous illusion of fame was shattered. Hollywood's glittering facade crumbled, revealing a horrifying truth buried beneath the lavish parties, million-dollar mansions, and red carpet smiles. Janet didn't just expose a scandal. She tore open the darkest secrets involving her brother, Michael Jackson, and one of the industry's most powerful figures, Diddy. But why now? And what exactly did Janet witness that pushed her into breaking decades of silence? The answers would shock millions, force the FBI into action, and forever rewrite the history of entertainment's greatest icons. This isn't just another celebrity scandal. It's a nightmare, meticulously hidden until now.
The day Janet broke her silence. When Janet Jackson walked into courtroom number 7 at precisely 8:41 a.m., everyone stopped. Lawyers halted mid-sentence, reporters froze in disbelief, and even the judge looked stunned. Janet had arrived completely unannounced, wrapped in a black silk scarf, her hands visibly trembling. This wasn't just unexpected, it was unimaginable. As the courtroom fell into silence, Janet stood, her voice shaking but determined. "I saw what my father did. I saw Diddy. I saw those tapes." Her opening words hung heavily in the air, causing an eerie, almost suffocating pause that lasted 18 full seconds. In those seconds, the entire world seemed to shift. Janet Jackson wasn't there to protect her family name or shield Hollywood secrets. She was there to expose them, completely and unapologetically. She described in chilling detail lavish parties at Neverland, hosted by her brother Michael and attended by some of the biggest names in entertainment and politics. But behind the glittering facade were sinister secrets, secret recordings, blackmail tapes, and young, unsuspecting victims. The revelation hit the courtroom like a shockwave, leaving those present shaken. Janet's testimony didn't just implicate her brother and Diddy. It shattered decades of carefully crafted illusions. But this was only the surface. Janet's explosive testimony was just the beginning. And what she revealed next would send the FBI scrambling, celebrities panicking, and the entire entertainment industry into chaos.
The secret tapes of Neverland. Janet Jackson recounted the night that changed everything, a night that shattered the illusion of Neverland. Once seen as a magical escape built by her brother Michael Jackson, it was now exposed as the epicenter of a dark and deliberate operation. According to Janet, the private parties held there weren't just glamorous celebrity hangouts. Alongside the singers, athletes, and industry elites were young girls, some underage, brought in discreetly, separated from the main guests, and asked to sign what they were told were consent to film forms. At the time, it seemed like part of the performance, but in truth, it was part of something much more sinister. Janet admitted that at first she didn't know what was really going on, but everything changed the night she wandered into a hidden control room beneath the main house. Inside were rows of encrypted hard drives, labeled with cryptic codes like JJ07, NE12, DW7. She said, "I never dared open them until Diddy became the target of an investigation. That's when I knew I couldn't stay silent any longer." What she discovered was horrifying. 48 hours of footage spanning 6 years, documenting at least 31 public figures. But what truly shook the courtroom wasn't just who was on the tapes, it was why the tapes existed. These weren't private moments. They were edited, archived, and used to control people. Janet revealed that the footage was used as leverage, tools to silence, manipulate, and dominate careers, reputations, and lives. She also recalled one haunting moment, seeing Michael emerge from the dark recording room, whisper to Diddy, "That one didn't cry today, but his face was white as paper." She never asked what he meant, but she never forgot it either. Janet didn't just expose evidence, she exposed an entire system of fear and control, hidden behind the lights of fame and the illusion of innocence. And once the FBI reviewed those tapes, they realized the true scope of what they were dealing with. This wasn't just a celebrity scandal, it was the foundation of a criminal empire.
FBI's disturbing discoveries. Within hours of Janet Jackson's explosive courtroom testimony, FBI agents swarmed New York Secor headquarters, urgently decoding the mysterious tapes she handed over. Each video was labeled only with cryptic codes like JJ07, NE12, and MC19. Codes that masked identities but revealed a horrifying pattern of abuse and coercion. Agents quickly realized these weren't random acts. They were meticulously planned operations designed to trap and exploit influential figures. Most chillingly, the FBI discovered footage featuring victims clearly unaware or incapable of consent, helplessly filmed in vulnerable states. The scenes were set in a disturbing, white-walled room, draped ominously with black velvet curtains and illuminated by dim lights. In nearly every video, one voice was unmistakable: Diddy's, his laughter, low and hoarse, echoing through the darkness. Investigators were stunned by the scale and sophistication of this sinister enterprise. One federal investigator grimly admitted, "In all my years handling trafficking cases, I've never encountered a trafficking network this professional or disturbing." Even more unsettling was the discovery of explicit instructions embedded in metadata. Recordings labeled "Use as Tool, Deal Later," suggesting victims were being blackmailed, controlled, or traded among powerful elites. One tape captured an agonizing plea from a young woman, her voice shaking as she cried, "I don't want to. I don't know who he is." Yet the camera rolled on mercilessly. As agents sifted through the encrypted drives, the depth of Diddy's twisted empire emerged, revealing a system that weaponized shame, fear, and secrecy to control Hollywood's most powerful figures. But the tapes didn't only lead back to Diddy and Michael. They pointed directly toward another industry giant, someone whose involvement would turn this case into an unimaginable nightmare.
Oprah's shocking connection. Just when the FBI thought the scandal couldn't get darker, the tapes led them somewhere no one anticipated. Straight to Oprah Winfrey. Agents discovered metadata linking several of the disturbing recordings directly to an estate in Malibu, owned secretly by Oprah herself. Investigators swiftly issued subpoenas probing the troubling connection between Hollywood's beloved media mogul and the nightmarish operation Diddy had built. Rumors surged online, fueled by Janet's courtroom revelations. Had Oprah, a figure synonymous with trust, empowerment, and compassion, been secretly aiding one of the most sinister networks Hollywood had ever known? According to leaked FBI statements, Oprah was not merely an observer. She appeared deeply connected, even named by Diddy during court proceedings as a central coordinator involved in managing and potentially suppressing victims. But Oprah remained silent, disappearing completely from public view, just as the accusations intensified. The FBI now faced unsettling questions. If Oprah knew, why did she never speak up? Was she protecting someone or herself? And perhaps most disturbing of all, if Oprah Winfrey, a woman known globally for uplifting others, could be implicated in something so dark,
Who else was hiding behind Hollywood's carefully crafted image? The deeper investigators dug, the clearer it became. Oprah was just one piece in a terrifying puzzle, and the real puppet masters had yet to be exposed.
Michael Jackson and Diddy's dark alliance. In a secluded Los Angeles mansion back in 2004, two of music's most powerful figures, Michael Jackson and Diddy, made a pact that would forever change the course of their legacies. Surveillance recordings uncovered by the FBI revealed secret meetings spanning nearly 2 years, meticulously hidden behind layers of non-disclosure agreements. One chilling conversation stood out. Michael, his voice barely above a whisper, confiding to Diddy, "We need an escape. Those tapes, if they fall into the wrong hands, the entire empire collapses." Diddy's cold reply echoed, "That's why I keep them. No one dares contradict when there's evidence. I don't do this for money. I do it for control." The tapes clearly exposed the twisted partnership between these two iconic men, driven not by fame or wealth, but by the intoxicating power of manipulation. Encrypted devices hidden beneath Michael's former estate revealed a sinister truth. Both men were recording everyone around them, stockpiling compromising footage to blackmail industry leaders into submission. But the surveillance also proved something even darker. Michael seemed fearful, desperate to protect himself from betrayal. On tape, he's heard instructing Diddy, "If I go down, don't let those names go with me. They're all involved. They must be named." Was Michael's death truly an accident, or was it an attempt to silence him forever? The FBI, forced to reopen Michael's death investigation, realized this wasn't just a criminal case. It was an unraveling conspiracy at the highest levels of power and influence. Michael Jackson and Diddy's dark alliance was only one layer in a system far more sinister, a system whose mastermind had yet to be uncovered.
Armand Keller, the man behind the camera. The investigation soon exposed the mastermind behind Hollywood's nightmare, a man hidden in plain sight, Armand Keller, a celebrated director known for his award-winning documentaries praised for exploring human truths. But behind Keller's artistic brilliance lay an unimaginable darkness. When FBI agents raided Keller's mansion in Hidden Hills, California, they uncovered something straight out of a horror film. Behind 3 layers of encrypted doors lay a secret room housing a sophisticated editing suite, surveillance equipment, and stacks of video files meticulously cataloged. Each clip corresponded precisely with Janet's testimony and the FBI's decoded tapes. Former assistants revealed the horrifying truth. Keller didn't just record these acts, he scripted and directed them. Victims weren't merely filmed, they were manipulated into delivering lines and expressions Keller described as beyond human boundaries. Footage intended for coercion and blackmail was perversely repurposed as art, displayed openly in galleries across Europe, watched unknowingly by millions. As agents led Keller away in handcuffs, he smiled coldly, saying only, "Don't call me a cameraman. I merely recount the truths you tried to forget." His words sent chills through investigators, who now realized the full scale of this horrific operation. But Keller was just one part of a terrifying chain. With each discovery, the FBI realized this was no isolated crime. It was a meticulously organized network controlling celebrities, politicians, and even media giants. And what they found next would shake the foundations of American society itself.
The silence list. Who knew and stayed quiet? Just as authorities thought the case couldn't grow darker, the FBI decrypted a chilling document buried deep inside Keller's encrypted files, a confidential list known as the silence list. This wasn't merely evidence, it was a catalog of complicity, containing names of over 120 influential individuals who knew about these horrifying crimes but chose silence over justice. The list included powerful Hollywood insiders, media executives, music legends, and even high-ranking politicians, all fully aware of the exploitation, blackmail, and abuse, yet deliberately remaining quiet. Among them were names that stunned investigators. Gayle King, Oprah's closest confidant and renowned CBS anchor, who reportedly viewed explicit footage but chose not to expose it. Jimmy Iovine, the former music executive, allegedly directing secret payments to silence victims. Steven Spielberg, the legendary filmmaker who, out of fear and contractual obligations, reportedly fled a private screening of coerced footage without alerting authorities. Even pop icon Britney Spears appeared on the list, not as an accomplice, but as someone who tried desperately to speak up in 2007, only to have her pleas ignored by therapists and handlers alike. As the names emerged publicly, panic swept through Hollywood. Celebrities scrambled to distance themselves, some lawyered up immediately, while others sought witness protection. Tragically, one prominent figure reportedly took their own life after being named live on national television as someone who knew but stayed silent. This wasn't just another scandal, it was proof of systemic corruption stretching far beyond the entertainment world. A stunned senator captured the nation's outrage, declaring, "Those who remain silent prolong the suffering. They can no longer claim to be innocent bystanders." As America reeled from these revelations, the question haunting everyone was no longer who was involved, but who was powerful enough to control and silence so many for so long, and whether the truth would ever fully emerge.
The national security conspiracy. By now, the scandal had ripped through the entertainment industry, media, and politics, but nothing prepared investigators for what they uncovered next. On June 12, 2025, a signal from a rarely accessed government data vault, Juno Vault, alerted the National Security Agency. Someone had tried to retrieve files tied to a defunct site, privateparties.org. That domain was quietly linked to Diddy, Michael Jackson, and several powerful media figures. But here's what sent shockwaves through Washington. The original footage wasn't first encrypted by Hollywood. It had been processed and stored by a government contractor, a cybersecurity firm with deep ties to Homeland Security. This raised a terrifying possibility. Had parts of the U.S. national security apparatus been used to shield, store, or even protect this exploitation ring? A classified NSA memo from 2003 was unearthed, stating, "Do not interfere with symbolic activity. These individuals are necessary to create a sense of social stability." That one line revealed the unthinkable. The system had knowingly looked the other way, rationalizing celebrity crimes as acceptable collateral to maintain national cultural icons. By June 13th, the FBI held a press conference unlike any. "This investigation," the spokesperson declared, "is no longer about Diddy. This is about a coordinated systemic mechanism." In the background of that press conference, a haunting image. Oprah Winfrey, Diddy, and Michael Jackson at a 2004 charity gala, once a symbol of unity, now exposed as a front for unimaginable corruption. And yet, as even names were revealed, documents decrypted, and tapes played in court, the machine that enabled it all hadn't stopped. The final, most disturbing truth lingered like smoke. This wasn't just about powerful people doing terrible things. It was about a system designed to protect them, and a society too distracted or afraid to question it. Because now the question isn't if there are others involved, but how many more are still hiding behind smiles, screens, and perfectly curated public images, untouchable, unchallenged, and waiting.
Conclusion: the system still standing. Janet Jackson's testimony may have ignited the fire, but what it revealed was something far more terrifying than any one celebrity, scandal, or secret tape. It uncovered a machine, cold, calculated, and designed to protect the powerful at all costs. A machine that didn't just exploit fame, it weaponized it. Diddy now sits in court facing a wall of charges. Michael Jackson is gone, his legacy twisted into a riddle of silence and suspicion. Oprah Winfrey, once the face of trust, vanished without a word, boarding a plane with no manifest, no destination, and no answers. But the most disturbing truth? The system is still there. The media empires that refuse to report, the intelligence agencies that quietly deleted records, the corporations that paid hush money through shell companies, and the familiar faces, those still on your screens, still shaping culture, who saw everything and chose to do nothing. This isn't about canceling anyone. It's about recognizing how power protects itself and how easily the public is distracted with red carpets, inspirational quotes, and shiny new stars. Because for every Diddy, for every Oprah, for every sealed tape, there are dozens of others waiting just out of frame, smiling, hosting, preaching, influencing. So now the question isn't what happened. You know what happened. The question is, what will you do with the truth? Will you scroll past it? Will you forget like every time before? Or will you finally ask, who else is still out there? And how long will we let them hide behind applause? Because the real danger was never just in the tapes. It was in how easy it was to make everyone look away.